Hello, my friends. It's time once again for a story, a part 3. And the time since I've been gone, since that horrible, horrible storm, I have seen that a third part of this very, very good story has been released. I was so happy that you guys' reaction to the second part, so let's go into part 3 because I'm already excited. I want to know what's going to happen. From Reddit user, a random teacher. This is My Journey to Reform a Neckbeard, Part 3, Diet and Beardcercise. Oh boy. Oh man. There is no way I got 50 plus upvotes and a reward on my last post. I had no idea you guys like the stories that much, and as such, I must deliver. I personally am really happy with these stories, and I'm really glad you're sharing them, because hearing what Ed's going through and knowing that he's making such good progress is really, really exciting. I'm sorry for being gone so long. Being a teacher keeps me kind of busy. But now I have returned and will deliver to you the most effective methods of getting a neckbeard to exercise. So about 3 weeks after the events involving Shay, I begun to help Ed with his diet. The first major part was addressing his liquid intake. I'm not shitting you when I tell you that I believe all this man ever drank was soda. Talking 2 bags of 2-liter bottles when we cleaned his room. And walking around with 2 liters of either Mountain Dew, Pepsi, or Orange Crush daily. Oh, that's too much. That's too much soda. Oh my god. I honestly thought about calling him Kel for a second because of all the orange soda he drank. If you know, you know. Who loves orange soda? Kel loves orange soda. Is it true? He had a lot of joint pain and terrible acne from the excess sugar and other shit they throw in soda. So obviously, this was the first major step in changing his diet, as eating better makes you feel better. It's true. The first thing we did was get him on a strict diet of water for a week. This is not an easy thing to accomplish, but with me staying on his case and letting him stay with me for the week, we got him to drink only water for an entire week. At the end of the week, he started feeling better. Going to the bathroom was easier, his joint pain cleared up, and so did his acne. But liquids were only one part of the diet. It's time to get to the food. I am not shitting you when I say this man would eat 69.42% fast food. Obviously, I made that number up, but he ate a lot of fast food. The worst part about that is that it's mostly Arby's. Like, at least 4 times a week, he'd eat Arby's. This was shocking, not because of the amount of fast food he ate, but because to this day, I've never met anyone who actually eats Arby's and enjoys it. Sick burn. After thoroughly roasting him for eating Arby's, I asked him a few questions about his large amount of fast food intake, and he revealed to me that he didn't know how to cook. Aw. Now, it's normal for guys in their 20s to not know how to cook, but this was unacceptable. I took it upon myself to teach this man the ins and outs of cooking. By the time I was done, I was going to turn him into a black Gordon Ramsay. So I took him through a month-long cooking boot camp, where every waking moment was filled with heat and stress until he ate, slept, and breathed cooking. Or I just gave him my old George Foreman grill and showed him how to grill chicken tenders instead of frying them, and managed to get his veggie intake to a semi-reasonable level. It's not great, but it's progress. Anyway, exercise part. I don't even want to tell you that getting someone extremely overweight to run and exercise is extremely difficult. So I decided to focus on increasing the activity rather than the workouts. I wanted to show him that physical activity could be fun, so naturally, the first place I went was Pokemon Go. We'd walk around campus for hours catching Pokemon together, and honestly, it was really enjoyable for the both of us. But I still needed to take this step further. We're going to need to get some intense activity to seriously start getting Ed to lose some weight. Some serious weight. But there was no energy that came with him to get him to lift weights with me. One night, he asked me to go to a nightclub with him. There he discovered his love of dubstep, or techno music, whichever one you prefer. So I got the idea to incorporate this into the workouts, and boy did it ever work. We hit the gym 3 times a week for at least an hour a day and go hard, powered by the forces of dubstep to give us limitless energy. This, along with the changes in his diet, worked wonders. So we fast forward to around the end of 2017. He's really putting in the work and made some significant progress. For about a month and a half of the work, he managed to lose about 35 pounds. That's fucking great, dude. I showed him his before and after pictures, and he started tearing up. Oh. And again, he gave me a giant hug. He had honestly made some shocking progress, and the determination I saw in his eyes was going to let me know that not only was I doing the right thing, I was also likely making a friend for life. It's so sweet. And this is where our story ends. I'm sorry for such a long break, and as I said before, teaching keeps me busy. But hopefully I can get to the next part before too long. I appreciate all the messages and comments about my story being read to perfection by Moonhorse and, oh my god, and the award I received on the previous post. I wasn't expecting you to just call me out like that. I'm so glad that you like them. Honestly, it brings me joy that so many people are willing to listen to a sappy, feel-good story instead of just reading about people making a fool of themselves or having a laugh. So thank you all for reading. Finally, if you are interested, I can share some of my tale working at a GameStop after I finish the story of Ed, but let me know. Until next time, readers. I didn't know you guys told him that I was doing this, but thank you. A random teacher, I don't know if you listen to these, but I want you to know that what you're doing to help Ed, and of course subsequently Ed, if you're listening to this too, I am so fucking happy for both of you. This is fantastic. You guys are amazing. You're making such incredible progress. You're doing so many wonderful things to make things just better all around. And that's great. You know, that's really, really great. Okay. Since this was a little bit of a shorter one, I'll just kind of go on a tangent, you know, as I do. I'll tell you this. I know that it takes some motivation to get into working out. A lot of, like, you gotta really push yourself. You gotta put yourself in that headspace and you gotta go for it. And I know that, you know, a while back, I'd say about 4 or 5 months ago, is when I really started seriously working out. I needed to. I was getting to a point where, like, I was just depressed and not taking care of myself and just not really doing anything. So I decided to really take it upon myself to find a good workout regimen, one that I can alter as I go. You know, as I start getting better at certain things, I add more stuff to it. And drinking specifically water more and more often. What really helps with that, when it comes to the water over, like, soda and other things, is, for me anyway, is to recontextualize how you see water and compare it to, like, how you see soda and things like that. I like Pepsi, as has been previously stated on this channel a few times, but at this point I see Pepsi not as something to drink, like, with a meal. I don't drink sodas with meals. That's a big thing that everybody does because of fast food. I refuse. I don't drink sodas with meals because soda is a dessert. That's where I put it in my brain. Soda's a dessert. So therefore, you only need a little of it. You don't really need a lot. I don't have these giant cups that I use for soda. I have several large insulated cups that I use for water specifically, because water is not a dessert. Water is what keeps you alive. And that really helps. Recontextualizing how you do things really, really helps. It also helps to have a schedule and to stick to that schedule. I usually, today's a little weird because I have to get a bunch of other stuff done. Usually, when I come out here to work, like before I sit down to start editing, I'll do my workout. I have a workout routine. It takes about 15-20 minutes. And it's not a super heavy one. You know, it's not super big. And I can't do every single thing that's on there yet, but I'm building towards it. Like, for example, one of the things it calls for is, I do this every day, except on weekends. I probably should do it on weekends, but we'll get to that. I do this same workout every day, and one of the things it calls for is to do 50 push-ups. I am not capable of doing 50 a day yet, but as of like yesterday, I broke a milestone. Strength in my arms is actually like a real weak part for me, so I knew that was going to take a while to like get to do more. I started only being able to do 10, and I would do 10 a day. That hurt, but I kept doing it until it started to get easier, and then I would up it by 5. Yesterday I broke through, and from now on I am now doing 20 a day. My limit is still 15. 15 is the overall goal. I'm sorry. 50, not 15. 50 is the overall goal I should be doing every day. But because I don't really have that upper body strength yet, it's going to take time to build to that. So it's not bad if you can't do the full exercise right off the bat. Nobody's expecting you to walk like 6 miles immediately. You have to build towards that. But it's good to have that goal, to have that idea in mind of, I got to do these things every day. I'm not capable of doing these things yet, but I can do them if I keep working at it. And the other one, the one that really works for me, and the one that, you know, a random teacher actually did for Ed, and I think is actually the better way to do this, don't involve a scale for weight loss. Go with physicality. A before and after picture. Find clothes that didn't fit before and now do. That really cements in your mind that you're losing stuff. You know, that you're getting weight off, that you're doing these things. Scales only measure mass, and that's not going to mean anything if you don't see a difference in the mass. Having something like clothing or a before and after picture, things like this, solidify in your mind what's going on because you can see those differences. Numbers on a scale, while important for measuring scientific data, don't really mean anything to most humans. Our brains don't really work like that in most cases. Works for some people, but a lot of people kind of doesn't. So don't worry about the scale. Just do what exercises you have and focus on that. It's definitely starting to work for me. I've lost, I've got to say, at least 30, 40 pounds at this point. I can definitely feel like muscles starting to develop. I'm getting, you know, thinner. I'm getting stronger. I feel better. And that's how I measure my success with this. Not, you know, did I lose weight? Am I down to, like, you know, are you 180 pounds or something like that? It's like, no, I don't care about that. That doesn't mean anything to me. What matters is how things fit and how I feel. And that's really, you know, it may not be the best workout advice, but I kind of agree with how a random teacher is doing it, and that's kind of the way I'm doing it. It makes a lot of sense. These things really stand out to you more. So, and again, thank you, both of you, for submitting these stories and doing this. This was fantastic. I cannot wait for the next part. This is so, so good. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, comment and tell, you know, Random Teacher and Ed how fantastic they're both doing. Because it's not just, I know that Random Teacher's telling the story, but it's not just Ed who's making progress. They both are. They're friends. This is an important thing. Friendship is super important, and it means the world, and it changes things for people. So, I'm really glad that you wrote these stories. If you'd like to support the channel, I have a Ko-Fi and a merch store. I would greatly appreciate you checking out both of those because the hurricane kind of hit me really hard. As those of you who know this kind of noticed, I went an entire week without work. It sucks. So, I'd appreciate it. And if you can't, that's fine too. I have a subreddit, r/Moonhorse Stories. If you'd like to send in a story, I'll check it out. It doesn't have to be a Neckbeard story. It can be a little bit anything. Either way, I'm so glad you're all here, and I'm so glad to be back. And I'm so proud of both a Random Teacher and Ed. You guys are just killing it. I love it. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.